All right, well, we want to get going. Be respectful of everybody's time. We're really grateful for everybody coming out today. We have a lot of representatives from different communities here in Northeast Wisconsin because what we really wanted to do today was come together and show our support for the Hmong community, our Hmong friends and neighbors, to say that at this time where you are being targeted, you are not alone. And this is not just about one community, but again, multiple communities coming together to say, we support you, we are here for you, we will do whatever we have to do to help you and protect you and stand alongside of you. So I know there's going to be a lot of different representatives from different communities talking about what they're doing in their community to push back on orders to deport Hmong community members. And I will start off by talking about how in Wisconsin, we are going to be putting forward a resolution to say that we condemn President Trump's actions and that notice because we know the truth that the Hmong people are here because they served us, because they fought along our soldiers, they are veterans, just like our veterans are, and that they were there for us when we needed them, and now we need to be there for them. And it is absolutely unacceptable to be targeting members of the Hmong community for deportation. And we will do whatever we can. We condemn these actions, and the state hopefully will take up this resolution this last week we're in session to show our support. Again, I know other communities here will be talking about what they're doing, so I will pass it off. But first, we're going to start with Mayua, who will talk a little bit about what's happening from the Hmong community perspective.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very thankful to see all of you here this morning and show your support for our Hmong community and the concerns that affect our Hmong community. I myself and my family, we were here as political refugees, and issues like this does affect myself, my families, my community, my relatives, and my brothers and sisters. And I'm so happy to see that you're here to support us. Hmong is an ethnic group lived in northern Laos during the Vietnam War. Hmong are Americans' greatest secret allies, anti-communists, and freedom fighters who have been recruited by the United States to fight against the communists in a tragic war known as a secret war in northern Laos operated by the American CIA. Laos became a communist country in 1975 and is still a communist country today. Since 1975, the communist regime began to persecute and kill every Hmong among family members. Hmong in the United States are documented war refugees who came to the United States legally and permanent residence alien status. Hmong are unlike any other immigrants who left their home, their mother country, to seek fortune, glory, and prosperity. Hmong came to America to start a new life in a new country because they lost their homeland and their country. Hmong are still holding on to the promise introduced by the United States to the Hmong during the war after. And it's about freedom, liberty, and justice in America, a new country and a promised land for the Hmong. The United States is a Hmong homeland now. Hmong are living in a new country among millions of Americans who came to the United States before them. America is home to more than 300,000 Hmong. After the war, Hmong families who have any connection with the United States during the war lost their home, their land, and their rights to live in Laos. The minute Hmong left Laos, the Laotian Communist government immediately affirmed that they are dead and enlisted them on the death list permanently. Today, any Hmong permanent residents who committed crime or engaged in any criminal activities should never be deported to Laos for their safety. If the United States deport a Hmong to Laos, this indicates that the United States is giving a Hmong person a death sentence or a death penalty. I would like to see our government, elected officials, and legislators working together to stop and reverse the deportation process, to make a legal declaration of special treatment for any Hmong to be treated as any American under the United States Constitution and in the court of law within the United States without a deportation order. Ô cho nhỏ nọ cho chứ cho nhẹ cho gì cho cái tin ninh cha thế cho bị sinh số linh số tu. Ô nú nó này tàu tua cho nó tua khi tàu hai tên này chơi sinh cho họ tên mình ô yếu chữ sĩ cho bị mong thế ta tàu chữ sĩ ta xin nó. Ô này cho hai tên này tua nú nó cho nó cho chữ nhá từ của nó thế cho bị sinh cho nó cho chữ nhá sáng trầu hết cho mi cha nó lấy chơi sinh cho bị họ tên mình nó lấy tôi chống họ đi nó tôi chơi bị nó. Ấy giờ thì họ tên mình nó giờ thì bây giờ sẵn sàng rồi ấy cho ấy tên mình thế và tôi cái chầu cho này lời cho lời những gì à đi cho bé thế cho bé từ nên từ cha từ tin ấy lúc nó bé tôi một sợ là nó tôi tê ok tôi một xí cùng chữ xí bát là một tờ số thế cho nó cho chữ hai bé chơi sinh cho bé mong thế chơi sinh cho cái dạy chữ sĩ cho bé ấy họ nói nên tôi đi nói thế họ dùng nên tôi tự số thế tôi cũng tệ ấy cái cho nó chữ là sao mót xén cho bé là mù nó phải thế là mù hay cho bớt tiệt chế đó cái chỉ sống một cái gì đi nó chữ sĩ cho bé ấy ô cho nên tôi nó nào thank you very much. Next I would like to have the board president, Ku Vane from Hmong American Partnership, to give a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Ku Vang. I'm the president for Hmong American Partnership, Fox Valley. We understood the struggles of how Hmong arrived here and the sacrifice that they made for their families as well as the United States. Because of their loyalty, our parents' loyalties to the United States during the secret war in Laos, Hmong have been targeted by Lao communists after they took over 1975. A lot of that is already covered by Mayua, which I won't go over. Who are at risk? The ones that are at risk for deportation had already paid their time to society. Today they are business owners, parents, taxpayers. The mistakes they made were done at a time of struggle, poverty, and pressures from society. But without right guidance, they have succumbed to bad decisions. Today they are main income earners of household with young children. In addition, many of them were born in the camps, never stepped foot in Laos. They do not speak Lao, the language of the country, or they left Southeast Asian as children. We therefore are against any deportation of Hmong back to Laos. And I urge all of us to stand up for this and not let this happen because it impacts our community. If these individuals are taken out of the community, there's going to be a lot of struggles for children, mothers, parents, mainly family, and that's our community right here. Thank you. And next, I'd like to introduce our elder person. These are the representative of Appleton. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming today. Maya wanted me to point out that we are in front of the mural of Long Chang, which is where the American base was in Laos. And I think that's very poignant. I just want to introduce my colleagues, Alderperson Schultz, Alderperson Fenton, Alderperson Meltzer, and of course, Alderperson Tao. I've been very blessed to learn more about the Hmong community through my friendship with Mayua. The Hmong community in Appleton is made up of veterans who served with American troops in the Vietnam War and their descendants. Many of the veterans were barely teenagers when they risked their lives for the United States, and after the war they were targeted by a vengeful government. They were brought here to escape death. In my experience, the Hmong residents of Appleton take pride in their culture as well as their city. Their culture celebrates us all as family, regardless of blood relation. I want the Hmong residents of Appleton to know that their elected representatives and their fellow citizens feel the same way about them. I urge our leaders to do the right thing. We need to keep the promise we made to protect our Hmong allies from the government of Laos. Thank you.
First of all, I'm Denise Fenton from Appleton Common Council District 6. I want to thank you all for coming today in support of our Hmong neighbors. We in Appleton value the Hmong community as an integral part of the culture in our city and proudly display a beautiful story cloth in Common Council chambers. On Sunday, I was honored to be invited by Mayua to attend her uncle's 81st birthday celebration in this very venue. Although I didn't understand the Hmong language in the many tributes to his life and illustrious career, the love and respect that a community and family has for a patriarch transcends language. I smiled as one of the speeches was interrupted by an adorable child clamoring to be picked up by a relative, and laughed aloud as the same child held court in the honoree's lap as he sat before the giant birthday cake. The point of this is that these families have been here for generations and they have a history. Appleton and Wisconsin are their home. The very reason the Hmong people had to leave the places they originally called home is that they fought alongside American troops and rescued wounded U.S. soldiers during the Vietnam War. Americans had to be 18 to be enlisted or drafted, but Hmong children as young as 11 were armed during the conflict. Tens of thousands of Hmong soldiers and civilians, more civilians than soldiers, died. After the '73 ceasefire, the Hmong people were declared enemies of the state by the Communist government of Laos. They were persecuted and were fleeing to refugee camps in Thailand until the camps were closed in 1992. The Hmong who came to the U.S. came here as refugees when the United States still recognized that we owed protection to the people who had given so much as our partners. They are not illegal. It is unclear how these deportation plans will be executed and who will be targeted, but given recent examples, we cannot expect that the process will be measured or humane. I am grateful for the leadership of our county, state, and national representatives who have spoken out against this policy, and I urge Congress to oppose any agreement that would deport Hmong residents from the United States to Laos. Thank you. So now, representing the Mayor's Office of the City of Appleton, I'd like to introduce Karen Nelson, our Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, alderpersons. Thank you, Representative Stuck. Thank you all for being here this morning. I'm here representing Mayor Hanna because he's currently in Madison meeting with Governor Evers. Governor Evers has already written a scathing letter as we stand in solidarity with our citizens here in the city of Appleton who are of Hmong descent. We in the city of Appleton denounce any deportation plans, and Mayor Hanna will once again lead the effort in the letter writing campaign just like he did 2 months ago on December 6th against the immigration change in policy that was coming out of the White House that has now been rescinded. And we would like to thank World Relief and other community organizations for coming to our aid, for helping to make sure that that happened. I am also wanting to underscore the amount of accomplishment that our Hmong community has made in the city of Appleton by recognizing the very first one of us. I'm now lucky number 7 in this position as the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator for the city of Appleton, and we should be so proud that we have stood alongside our Hmong community who have brought us to this place in the person of the first Intercultural Relations Coordinator, Dr. Pam Herr. Will you please stand? So you see, 45 years later, there's no need to even talk about deportation. These are now doctors, lawyers, and contributing citizens to the city of Appleton, and we stand in solidarity against this vehement action. With that, I will close my comments now and bring to the podium the Mayor of Green Bay, Mayor Gingrich.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's a real honor to be joining you today. Unfortunate circumstances, obviously, but really glad to be gathered with you all. You know, Green Bay and Appleton are supposed to be rivals, but I can tell you that I'm learning a lot from Mayor Hanna, from Karen, from the work that has been done here over the last several decades, and we're doing our best to catch up as quickly as possible in Green Bay. So I want to thank you for the leadership that many of the people in this room have demonstrated, and the work that you've done to build this community here. I'm really here to say that it's important for us to remember, as others have said, the commitment that the Hmong community, the Hmong people have made to us as a country, and calling on our congressional delegation to remember with us. We are not always known as a country for having the best historical memory. Sometimes it doesn't mean life and death. In this situation, it absolutely does. So I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt of ignorance in this situation, and trust that we are not here because of malice. So given that, I think it's incumbent upon us to educate our congressional delegation, to educate the federal administration, and to call on them to remedy what has been put forward, to remove this order, this agreement between the government of the United States and the government of Laos, and again, to recognize and remember the commitment that we have made to the Hmong people, recognize what they have done for us and our soldiers and our country, and to restore that bond that should never be diminished or forgotten. So I'm here representing the people of Green Bay to let you all know that we stand with Hmong residents in Green Bay, Hmong residents in Appleton and Wausau, all across the state of Wisconsin, all across the country, recognizing and remembering everything that you have done for us, and committing to standing with you throughout these difficult days ahead to make sure that this policy is not changed, is not put into place. So thank you again for having me here today. With that, I'm going to turn things over to my good friend, Thomas Nelson, County Executive for Outagamie County.
Good morning. If you attend the annual Hmong New Year celebration here in Appleton, you see Hmong Americans for who they are, a tightly knit people steeped in tradition and values. You see a vital component of the Wisconsin population. The Hmong are here for one reason. They risked their lives to help us during the Vietnam War, and for that assistance, they risked the worst kind of persecution. The Hmong are here also, and especially because they are war heroes. They're not criminals, they're patriots. And most importantly, they are our neighbors. They're people like my neighbor, Leah Vu, who brings me a coffee when I blow the snow from his driveway, as was the case this morning. They're people like Mayua Tao, the first Hmong alderperson of the Appleton Common Council, who is with us here today. In short, when I think of Hmong Americans, I think and I believe that the Hmong are not part of our community. The Hmong are our community. For that reason, all of us should be troubled by the Trump administration's cavalier rumblings about deportation. I know I am. And that's why I've called on U.S. Senator Ron Johnson to use his standing on the Foreign Relations Committee to hold hearings on this matter now. It is also why I stand in support of the Appleton Common Council resolution and the Assembly resolution before us today. The secret war is over, but the truth about this deportation order must be brought to light. Thank you. Any questions? He made a statement shortly after Ku Vang and I. I'm sorry. Has Senator Johnson responded to my letter? He has not responded to my letter, but he has made a statement that he is speaking with administration officials, but that's all we know.
You said what you guys are doing for this wonderful cause, but what can we do? Can we write letters to Senator Johnson? What are we focusing on?
Well, I think that this is, this is a lot like, number of challenges that we've had in the past. Karen Nelson had talked about the mayor's leadership with regard to an earlier immigration policy. I think the best thing that we can do is continue this pressure. The unfortunate thing is that there are only a handful of elected leaders who have chosen to raise their voices. I think what is what is particularly disturbing is that on this letter and the resolution, there is just one party that have put their names to it unless something has changed to that. And this is not a partisan issue. We need everybody on board. We need every voice from every corner of this state. It's the only way that you're going to make any headway on this issue. This is a matter. This, for some people, can be a matter of life and death. And who knows when this administration is going to act on this. This administration does not have the best track record when it comes to immigration issues. Let's be clear on this. We're talking about an administration and a president who has a history of demonizing minorities and people of color. We should take this issue very seriously, and that's why I know all of my colleagues are here, and leaders within the Hmong American community, and leaders throughout Outagamie County and the Fox Valley to keep the pressure on and do everything we can to stop this.
So on January 13th, I believe State Senator Roger Roth was here, designating May 14th as Hmong Lao Veterans Day. Has anybody in state legislative government besides Representative Stuck spoken out or is in attendance today?
Well, I will say that there was a letter that went out from the Democratic caucus in support of our Hmong community members, saying that we all condemned the Trump administration's actions. So there was a letter again from all the Democrats in the Assembly. As far as I know, though, there have not been any Republicans that have signed on or put out anything similar.
On Friday was the 100th centennial of the League of Women Voters, and we also conducted a 2-hour-long letter-writing campaign to many elected officials on Friday, and I sent my letter to Senator Roger Roth.
Thank you.
I went to the community conversations last night at the PAC. It was well done and very touching. I was talking to someone afterwards that I know who was volunteering, and she said they're on high alert for protests and possible security issues there because of Miss Saigon. Anybody have a comment about that? That really, it's too close to home.
Thank you very much for that question, and I am a part of the planning committee for the community conversations around Miss Saigon. The first one was last evening. The next one will be tomorrow evening and Saturday. But tonight is opening night, and I have spoken directly with Police Chief Todd Thomas for the Appleton Police Department, and they are prepared. We believe that they are all going to primarily be coming in from out of town, but we are just hoping for a peaceful evening because we in the city of Appleton are a united community with our Asian Americans who have chosen to build their residences here, and we want them to know that we stand for their safety as well.
The Hmong community in Appleton and the Fox Valley will stand with our mayor and the police department. We are for safety. Other questions?
Thank you all for coming.
One more over there, gentleman in blue.
As of this date, have there been any deportations, and what is the strategy by the administration to remove Hmong people? Is there a timeline, or has anybody been deported yet?
In the past, under the Obama administration, there has been deportation. Even back to the Clinton administration, there has been deportation. Since Trump took over, there were some negotiations. Trump and his administration basically told Laos, you must take them back ASAP, to which the Lao government had responded back and said, no, these are not our citizens, they're your citizens. And so there's been a little bit tapering off. Now the negotiation has been going on. There's not enough transparency. We do not know what's being discussed. We do know that there's a history with the Lao government, and we know that it's not good for us whenever negotiation happens for Hmong. Typically because of what Mayu and I had expressed. After 1975, after we left, we were prosecuted, we were chased, and so we definitely fear that.
One of the reasons why I've called on Senator Johnson to use his post on the Foreign Affairs Committee is specifically to hold hearings. I mean, there's a lot of questions about what's going on. And I think we need people to come before the U.S. Senate to explain their actions, to explain their behavior, end this policy, and hold them accountable. I think that's the only way that we're going to get to the bottom of this, is to have some transparency, to throw sunlight on this issue. And I think that's a really good venue to do that. So I think a lot of people are just asking questions. And in my opinion, that's the way you get to the bottom of this. Thank you.
His brother is here. He's a reporter for the... Hi, Connie. Yeah.